But Omozusi did not approve of the marriage. Omozusi told Osage that it would be over her dead body for Osage to marry a cursed child. Osage was confused and asked his mother what she meant by it. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Adesua. She was very beautiful and was admired by all the young men in the village. Adesua was an orphan and the only child of her parents. She was very hardworking and respectful, and everyone in the village loved her. She had a friend called Irekwitan and a suitor named Orefu. Adesua and Orefu had been together for many years, and he promised to marry her. After some time, Adesua found out that she was pregnant and she told Orefu about it. But to her greatest shock, Orefu denied the pregnancy and told Adesua that he was not the one responsible for her pregnancy and that she should terminate it. Adesua was heartbroken because she had never been with any other man apart from Orefu. She cried and begged him for days, but he had no change of heart. Adesua was so sad, and she was afraid to keep the child as people would mock her. And so, she took some herbs to terminate the pregnancy. She took the herbs for days so it would be very effective. But after some time, she became very sick and was rushed to the herbalist by her friend Irekwitan. On getting there, the herbalist told Irekwitan all that was happening to Adesua as she was still unconscious. When Adesua woke up, Irekwitan asked her why she never told her about the pregnancy, and Adesua told her that she was scared and she did not want anyone to know she was with child. The herbalist warned her not to attempt terminating the pregnancy again, as it might be the end of her life. Adesua started crying because Orefu refused to take responsibility for the pregnancy. Irekwitan encouraged her to keep the baby and that she was willing to assist her in taking care of the child. Few months passed and Adesua's belly began to grow. People began to laugh at her as it was an abomination to get pregnant before marriage. When people asked Orefu about Adesua, he denied the pregnancy and accused Adesua of being loose. Orefu even joined the villagers to mock Adesua. When Adesua found out that Orefu was one of the people mocking her, she began to regret ever having a relationship with him. Weeks turned into months, and Irekwitan continued to support Adesua, and their friendship continued to blossom. One day, when Irekwitan and Adesua went to fetch water from the river, Adesua felt a sharp pain on her waist, and before Irekwitan could call for help, she went into labor. Irekwitan shouted for help, but no one was around, and so Adesua gave birth by the riverside. She had a very beautiful baby girl. Irekwitan was so happy, but before she knew what was going on, Adesua started bleeding heavily. Adesua knew she was not going to make it, and so she called Irekwitan and named her daughter Omoye. She gave Omoye to Irepitan and made her promise to look after her. Irepitan promised Adesua and quickly ran into the village to get help. But by the time she returned, she found Adesua lying lifeless by the riverside. It turned out that Adesua died from the side effects of the herbs she was taking to terminate the pregnancy. Irepitan cried as she looked at poor Omoye, who had just lost her mother. The villagers helped her carry Adesua to her home to be buried. Irepitan cried for days, and she fulfilled the promise she made to her dear friend. She took care of Omoye and looked after her like her own child. Many years passed, and Orifo still did not come for Omoye, neither did he offer any help. Irepitan got married, and her husband treated Omoye also like his child. Omoye grew up to be a very beautiful and hardworking girl. She looked just like her late mother, Adesua. Her auntie told her all about Adesua, and so she often visited the river as she believed her mother's spirit was still there. She was a very smart and intelligent girl, but she vowed not to follow her mother's footsteps, as she would never want to be abandoned and lonely. One day, a sad incident occurred and Irepitan died. This news broke Omoye, as Irepitan was also a mother to her. She cried for days, but her tears could not bring her back. Irepitan's burial arrangement was made, and all her relatives came. After the burial, a young man named Osage saw Omoye and asked who she was, and Irepitan's husband told him. Osage was a distant relative of Irepitan's husband and was a very successful trader. He lost his wife few years back and vowed never to marry, as his love for his wife was very strong. But when he saw Omoye, he was carried away by her beauty and character, and so he decided to approach her. They talked for a long time, and soon they became very good friends. Osage grew fond of her, and not a single day passed that he did not visit Omoye. Soon his feelings for her grew, and he could no longer hold back. He told Omoye how he felt about her, and Omoye told him that she felt the same way. Osage asked her for her hand in marriage, and she accepted and told him to go and seek her uncle's blessings. Osage was so happy, and he told his mother Omozusi about it. But Omozusi did not approve of the marriage. Omozusi told Osage that it would be over her dead body for Osage to marry a cursed child. Osage was confused and asked his mother what she meant by it.
Can't you see she's a cursed child and everyone dies around her? First, her mother died while giving birth to her, and then her auntie who took good care of her like a child,
she said to Osage. Osage found no sense in what his mother was saying, as she had always had excuses even before he married his late wife, and so he decided to go against her, and he got married to Omoye. Omozusi was so angry, and she made up her mind to make Omoye's life miserable. Every day, when Osage leaves for work, Omozusi will start abusing Omoye and calling her all sorts of names. Omoye endured, and when her husband returned, she would act as if nothing had happened, as she did not want to break the bond between Osage and Omozusi. She continued for days, and she would cry all through the day. She told Osage that she would like to start a trade, and Osage promised to give her the money after his next trip. Soon, Omoye became pregnant, Her husband was so happy and he showered her with all sorts of gifts. But this did not sit well with her wicked mother-in-law, Omozusi. One day, when Osage traveled to the neighboring village for business, Omoye cooked and served Omozusi. Omozusi started abusing her and accusing her of poisoning the food. She told Omoye that if she does not leave her son, she would kill her like she killed Osage's late wife, who was from Benin. When Omoye heard this, she was shocked and she quickly ran away. She thought of telling the villagers what Omozusi had said, but she decided to wait for Osage as the villagers might not believe her. And so she went to the river to cry. She cried and cried until it was late. Unknown to her, the village herbalist was close by, picking some leaves for herbs. She heard Omoye and approached her. At first, Omoye did not want to tell her the truth, but she told Omoye that she heard her song. Omoye told her what had happened and also told her not to tell anyone yet, as she would like to tell Osage herself when he returns. The herbalist advised her not to sleep in the same house with Omozusi, as she might be planning something very bad. But Omoye told her that she would just be careful, and she went home. She quietly went into her room and locked the door. The next day, when Osage came back from his travel, he found out that Omoye was still in the room. It was odd because she always sensed his presence. Osage called her several times, but she did not respond. When he looked through the window, he found out that Omoye was lying on the floor. He quickly broke the door, and when he saw her, she was barely breathing. Osage immediately rushed her to the herbalist, and she gave her some herbs to flush out the poison in her body. Few hours later, Omoye woke up and the herbalist told them that there was poison in her body and she had lost the pregnancy as a result of that. This news broke her and she began to cry. Who could be so wicked to poison my wife? Osage began to cry. The herbalist asked Omoye to tell her husband the truth, or else she would tell him herself. Omoye told her husband everything Omozusi said. Osage was shocked and he decided to report the incident to the king. The king called Omozusi, the herbalist, Osage and Omoye to the palace and asked each of them to say exactly what happened in front of the chief priest. And they all did. When it was Omozusi's turn, she denied all they said. The king asked each of them to swear, and they did. Omozusi was scared, and she decided to confess. She confessed to poisoning Omoye and killing Osage's late wife and mother, because she wanted Osage to be miserable and not have any child of his own. When Osage heard this, he was shocked and he asked what she meant by she killed his mother. Omozusi laughed and told Osage that she was not his biological mother and that his father married his mother because she could not bear any child. I killed your mother because your father treated me like a nobody when he married her, and he made me take care of you when she died. And so I made a vow to make your life miserable. Everyone was shocked at how wicked Omozusi was. And so the king had no choice than to sentence her to the evil forest, as that was the punishment for killing. The discovery shattered Omoye and Osage, and they lived in shock for the next few days. Omoye and Osage mourned the loss of their child, and not too long, they were blessed with another child. Osage promised to protect Omoye no matter what it cost, and they both lived happily ever after. This is the end of this story. The moral of this story is to shun wickedness, as it always has its repercussion. Thank you for listening to this story. If you want us to make more videos, hit on the like and subscribe button below and comment which country you are watching from. We love and appreciate you. Bye.